Serious, what's the most interesting story a stranger has told you? This actually happened to me today. I took my two young daughters to the park. When I pulled into a parking spot, there was a man who looked to be in his 60s filling his water bottle next to the playground. We went down to the playground and I noticed him walking awkwardly from a distance. At first, I thought he was drunk, but as he came closer it appeared he was intellectually disabled. He stood at the upper level of the playground staring at us as my kids played with the musical equipment. We were the only ones at the park. It made me a bit uncomfortable at first, but he eventually walked away and began picking up trash and putting it in the bin by us. He made a comment about making the park look nice and walked over to me. He started talking to me about Star Trek, and how he is rewatching the original series. At this point I was just being friendly, and just listened. He then told me about how he used to work as a police officer. Me being an asshole just assumed that this meant he worked at a Walmart or Target as a greeter or something. He said he had to retire after his accident. So I asked what happened and that's when he turned around to show me the scar about 6 inches from his neck down his spine. He said he was responding to a call in a snowstorm and rolled his car multiple times, breaking his neck. Another officer passed the scene and saw his lights in. Another officer passed the scene and saw his lights in the ditch with the car upside down and him pinned inside. He said they had to bring him back multiple times and he spent about 4 months in the hospital and another year in rehabilitation. He was paralyzed in part of his body, had to learn how to walk again, regain motor function, speech, etc. I sat on a bench with him for about 45 minutes talking with him about his career, past relationships, current issues, etc. Eventually another woman showed up with what looked to be her grandson. She kept shooting looks our way as he was a very loud talker. She eventually walked up to my girls, who were sitting under the playground, and asked if I was their dad. I could tell they were ready to go, so me and the gentleman shook hands and parted ways. I then walked to my girls and the woman said, "Geez, I didn't think you were ever getting out of there." I said, "No, I enjoyed talking to him. He had an amazing story," and gave her a brief rundown of his situation. She then responds, "Yeah, but he has to realize that coming to a park where there are moms and kids makes us very uncomfortable." In my head I was like, is this bitch serious? After just telling his story, but realized I had the same thoughts when he was just looking at us when we got there. On the ride home my daughter, 9, was asking me questions. She said that she heard a lot of his story, and he seemed super nice, but that lady was just plain mean. It became a good teachable moment on why we shouldn't judge people just on their appearance or differences, but don't go talking to strangers.